So it is 1:34. I think I'm just going to start at 1:35. I am live on House of Healing LLC as well as Vigo Live. I'm going to try this. I am going to try this one more time. Okay, so this time I decided not to do the single live on Vigo because when I do the single live, I can't really lock the box, and then I get a lot of distractions in that way. So I decided to do a panel, but I do have my boxes locked, and I then that way I can, if I decide to unlock the boxes, then I can do that later. Okay, so. Um, so I don't think there's many people in either room right now, which is fine. I'm just going to, because I'm really, I'm glad that I'm recording on YouTube because I'm actually tired, and I was not going to go live, and my spirit just keeps prompting me to push myself, because I do think that on some level I am spoiled and rebellious at the same time. And so I don't want to be rebellious, against the Great Spirit. I don't want to be, being spoiled or to get lazy as far as, feeling like that I can always put things off until the next day and all of these things. So what's important to know is that, on this path, if have a mission or job that you're supposed to be doing, and you delay it, or you decide, I'm going to wait until tomorrow, you have no idea, who may have been waiting to hear that message. And a lot of times we don't have any idea of how no one else will be able to deliver the message, that it was you who was uniquely shaped and formed to be the messenger. And so, a lot of times people who don't, chosen ones who don't fully understand the assignment, tend to think that we have time to, delay things. And sometimes you cannot delay things because, the people need what you are bringing. So if have been blessed with gifts, spiritual gifts, um, the gifts are not for you, okay? They just come through you, and you are supposed to be using those gifts to help people. So, saying all that to say that, so tonight I actually did push myself because, there's always this internal battle that's going on between even though you've, ascended to a higher level, there's a part of you that's still trying to keep you in the lowest, part of whatever realm that you're in. And so there's always that fight, to continue to grow, to expand. And it's really just a matter of, that an internal conversation that is going on, between your higher self and your lower self. So I decided to push past my desire to just want to lay down and keep all of the downloads that are going through my mind to myself, because I know that all of these messages are not for me. And so, and then with that comes the challenge to push past the small part of you that has all of these doubts, as far as, because it was months ago. It's been actually over a year ago, and I would say 2 or 3 years ago. I would say it's been about 2 years actually, where for those of you who know that I work with Archangel Michael, Michael was telling me, it's been like at least 2 years ago, that he started to tell me to train my thoughts and not to, rely on writing things down so much. Not saying that I can't write books and I can't keep notes and write down talking points and things like that. But, there was a time when I would just write down very, very organized, in a very organized sort of way, all of the downloads that I was getting. And then I would deliver them in a very organized sort of way. And it was time to move beyond that point, where the relationship with the divine that I had was not going to come through me writing down things and then going back over the talking points. But for some reason, there was a need for me to just be able to step up to the mic and in real time give the freestyle thoughts and the downloads that I am getting. And so what it is really, it's just a matter of trusting, your spiritual part of yourself. It's about allowing spirit to take the wheel and, trusting that, what is that movie? It was about a man that he felt he kept getting a vision or it felt like he was hearing from God or, some higher power telling him to build a baseball field, was it? Or some sort of, I believe it was a baseball stadium or something like this. And he kept hearing the words, if you build it, they will come. And so, that's what guidance from spirit feels like. So it was like beyond writing down the downloads that I was getting, it was about trusting spirit enough to realize that if I step up to the mic, spirit will speak, and that you are not always going to be prepared ahead of time. If you know what I'm saying. So it's like if I tell you to step up to the mic, and even if you don't know what you're going to say, do that. And so it's really about developing this relationship and developing this trust. And I think about this, the story that my pastor told me when I was in church about how she would get up, and yes, it was a female pastor, how when she first came to the church that we were in, she didn't have she didn't really have a congregation. And so she had prepared her whole sermon and everything for that weekend. And, she talked about how there were some Sundays when she would get up to preach her sermon and she would be preaching to an empty congregation. And I just imagined what that would be like. But she felt that this was part of her assignment. It was part of her training. She was being tested and, in a lot of ways. And, just remembering that, that her story and the things that she said she had to go through in order to be in the position that she was in, I always use that as an inspiration, because I really don't mind going into my YouTube room or Bigo or wherever, and especially, as if it's being recorded, and delivering the messages, even though I don't see anyone in the rooms, because, there's been a lot of times on this path where I, have fought so hard to try to get a message delivered, and, was really frustrated because I felt that it hadn't been received, properly. And I imagined that the people would not get the benefit of, heeding these words. And I had to learn, through trial and error that it's not really, it wasn't really my job to make the people receive the words, and that it was okay that if in that moment they didn't appear to be listening or to be receiving what I was giving, because my job, which was to just, be the messenger, had been done. And so if they didn't receive it, it wasn't a sign of me not being successful in what I had come to do. And I learned, over time that when people reject a message in real time, or, they're in denial or whatever, over time, as they continue to learn and grow and walk this path, that they circle back around and they end up going back and picking that wisdom and that knowledge up off of the floor, and they do end up eventually using it. And so, knowing that is one of the things that has also given me peace. Um, you know, when it appears that something that I came to deliver, um, was not being received. And so this is, one of the reasons why I do not mind, just giving this message and having it being recorded, because I know that it will fall on the ears that it is supposed to fall on, and at the time that it is supposed to fall. And I'm very confident in the fact that I am meant to do this way, um, for a reason. And so that's the beautiful thing about having complete and total trust in the spirit that is guiding you, because a lot of outside circumstances and illusions have absolutely no effect on how effective you are at being able to do your job. So the other night, I don't know why I'm craving coffee. I'm feeling like, is the ancestors that want coffee at 1:46 a.m.? I can't even blame, that. But I think I am going to go make some, because, again, I do have a few minutes. There's really not anyone in either of my rooms right now. So I do feel like I want to do this, because I do want to get into, um, I do want to get into back, I want to review the last live that I did when I was speaking about, I don't remember what the title of it was. What did I title that on YouTube? The Unraveler's Knot. Yes, and we were speaking about the Russian dolls, and the Matryoshka and Babushka dolls. So I'm not going to go too deeply back into, explaining it. I do intend to continue teaching on that, and further, in some future lessons. But in the meantime, I am gonna review it so that I can get into what I want to speak about tonight. So the title of this video on YouTube is The Builder. And my YouTubers know that I can be very random. And, at times I'll just hit the live button and I'm live. And no, I don't, um, for the most part, pre-schedule. And usually when I do pre-schedule, there's always something that comes up to block that energy from happening at the time that I rescheduled it. And so I tend to be very random. And so I do encourage you guys to really just catch the playback if you don't catch me in real time. And, if you do catch me in real time, then all is as it should be. So for my Bigo Live room, if you are in the room, share the live. I am going to go and make myself some coffee. It is dandelion coffee, by the way. Even though it is dandelion coffee, I still probably should not be drinking it at this hour. However, I do tend to kind of be a little bit rebellious and to do my own thing. And I do kind of feel like, when I'm craving something like coffee at this hour, it may be my ancestors that are craving it. And so, by the way, we are listening to 1100, what am I trying to say? Yes, 1100, 111 hertz. And it's a frequency to help you connect to the universal life force energy. Okay, so we can call this chi, we can call it prana, we can call it Reiki, we can call it love. You know what I'm saying? We can call it God, as long as we receive it and we align ourselves with it. That's what's important. Okay, so just give me like a 5-minute break to get my drink and to let my YouTube people realize that I am live. If anyone's going to join me in the live room, and also on Bigo Live to build up. So if you are in here, go ahead and share the live. I am sending you all peace, love, life, and healing, and enjoy the frequency in the background in the meantime. It smells amazing in here, by the way, you guys. I'm burning 2 different candle scents, And they are the big candles that like fill the environment with this beautiful vibe. So I got a whiff of it when I stood up, so it's like in the air. Yeah. So advice, if y'all can hear me from over here, is to beautify everything in your life, because that just raises the vibration. Small bit of advice that makes a big difference. Beautify everything in your environment, because your environment is the key to healing on every level: mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. So begin with the environment, and beautify your environment as much as possible. So again, tonight I'm pushing myself to be obedient to spirit, because it is very obvious to me that I would say we, because you guys wouldn't be listening and tuning in to this vibration with me if we were not on the same frequency in some way, shape, or form. Now, I do feel that the people who will tune in later and won't catch me in real time, there is a slight variation in the timelines that we are on, and then a slight variation in the frequencies that we are on. But that's okay, because at some point the frequencies do intersect. So nothing is static and everything is moving. And at different places and times, our timelines intersect, because I do believe that that we are all on different timelines, regardless of how much it appears that we are in the same world. I think all of us is experiencing a different version of the world. Okay, so shout out to Michio Kaku, who is one of my favorite. I believe he is an astrophysicist. I could be wrong about this. He could be just a quantum scientist, quantum physicist, very brilliant scientist who studies the quantum reality. And I know that he would agree with me about, on some level. I'm coming, y'all. I know I feel like I'm far away. It probably sounds like I'm talking to myself. I gotta get my coffee together. So there is the theory of, there being multiverses and all of these different versions of reality. And I do believe that these versions of reality are the real versions of reality. I think that we each create our own individual reality, and then, depending upon our vibration at a given time and space, I do believe that, of course, our timelines intersect with other people, and it's all about energy, frequency, and vibration. But back to the subject matter. So I titled the video on YouTube "The Builder," and I titled it that because I was my last live. I spoke a lot about the Unraveler's knot, and liking that to Pandora's box and the Matryoshka or Babushka dolls. And basically, the principle behind these dolls is the deconstructing or the unraveling of the self, to get down to the core self. So that smallest doll would represent the part of ourselves that we are actually um, trying to go back to and be at one with, because this is the builder. Okay, what I mean by the builder is, there's a lot of things that come to mind when this term comes to mind. One of the things that comes to mind is, of course, the builder of your reality, constructing your own reality, the creator of your reality. But then, thinking about the story of Jesus in the Bible and, how he was the carpenter's son, and how, so he would have that DNA of the builder in his DNA. Now, again, I believe that the Bible is a metaphysical book, and that the stories are not, so much literal as they are symbolic. And so Jesus being the carpenter's son, he would be the son of the creator. He would be the son of the builder, the master builder. He would be, the son of God, of course. And so because, God is the creator, the prime creator of this reality. And so this is the way that I interpret him being the son, the carpenter's son, is having, the DNA of that master builder, in his bloodline. And, a lot of us, um, you know, could be placed in that very story, and it would still fit. Okay. And so for me, these are, just archetypes, not saying that the character called Jesus or Yeshua or, Yahushai or Yahweh, with all these names, because, I'm a direct channel and I do speak with the Great Spirit directly. And I've asked a lot of questions, of course. And, one of the things that I do know is that, the Great Spirit, that which we call God, is called by many names. Okay, so the name does not necessarily define the wholeness of what the Great Spirit is. Okay, so the name would be the name given to the Great Spirit by people of a particular culture. And this is, this is okay. Okay. And so I'm not one who sees the division in these different perspectives of God, but I'm one who can see the unity in them all. When you look past the things that uphold the illusion, things like, your skin color or the region of the world that you live in or that you come from. If you have ears that hear, then you will hear the same message and you will understand the energy, that the messenger is giving. Okay, because all of the people who come from the Most High are carrying an energy of love. Okay, and so if you don't know what that is, then that is your challenge to learn. And in order to learn truly, we have to come as a child, meaning that we have to act as if we don't already know things, meaning that we have to unravel the things that we believe that we already know. That means that we have to unlearn a lot of the things that we have accepted as truth that may or may not be the truth. And so it would be harder for an intellectual to receive a new truth than it would be for, a child or, someone who understands that they don't know anything. It's easier for that person to actually receive the truth. Okay, so we could look in the Bible and see how, and I, of course, I'm not a Bible thumper and all of that. I use that because a lot of people use this as their source of reference, and a lot of people are familiar with it, and so I do use the truth in the Bible as tools to teach. And so, but basically, what I was saying is that. Now I lost my train of thought about what I was getting ready to point out in the Bible. It'll come back to me though. But basically, the carpenter, of course, is the builder. Okay. And the builder, is the one who has created this reality, who has built this reality. Okay. And so the so for some reason I'm hearing the cornerstone that the builders rejected. Now I know that that is also a scripture in the Bible, but why am I hearing it now? Something about the builder. Okay, because you are the builder, and I know that that was referring to Jesus as being the cornerstone that the builders rejected. So all of the foundation of it has to rest upon you. And so towers fall. Okay, towers. So basically I'm getting downloads right now, you guys, so just bear with me with my little seeming to ramble. So basically I'm hearing a lot of, I think that this is where a lot of people are on their path, and I believe that this is why I was sent to deliver this message at this time. So I'm just going to start from again, the dolls was about, if anyone is not familiar with the babushka or the matryoshka dolls or Pandora's box, these are all symbolic of, basically they start with a big box or a big doll, and then you open it and there's a smaller one and a smaller and a smaller and smaller. And so the principle behind this for me, spiritually, is that this is the deconstructing of the person that you have become in order to reinvent and reconstruct and rebuild yourself. So when I speak about the builder, because I also teach that your individual and collective reality in the universe essentially is but a reflection of your own internal state of being. So, in order to build your world and to recreate your reality, you have to work within the self. And so, this is the whole principle behind, and this is how I'm linking up. Because I can't say that this is why they created the dolls, or this is what they're going to say. If you look it up and say, well, why do they create these, or what is the meaning? I'm saying the spiritual meaning that I came to teach using these symbols is that all of these other layers are what the builder has built, that the builder has added unto the self, that the builder would be the one at the very center, at that inside at the very last box of Pandora's box would be the consciousness. Inside of the very core of Unraveler's knot would be the heart center. At the very center, or the very last doll in the matryoshka or babushka dolls, would be the builder. Okay, so let me take a sip of my coffee, you guys. Peace to the person that just joined me on YouTube, and also shout out to my Vigo live room. I am going to start a lottery in a minute so you guys can share the live. I'm just getting started. I've been live on Vigo for 34 minutes, and I am being random, but I was getting ready to try to lay down without delivering these messages, and my spirit was just really adamant about me, changing the pattern of the way that I do things, and just, and so I'm really just pushing through my lower self to allow my higher self to speak. So, yeah. So anyway, I was talking about the um, the dolls and the Pandora's box and Unraveler's knot, and how all of these things represent getting down to the root, to the core, to the center of things, to the truth of things. Okay, so with the dolls, that very smallest doll that you get to after you've opened up all of the other bigger dolls would be the truth of who you are. Okay, once you've unraveled the knot, and then begin to wrap it up again in a very neat fashion. At the very core of that knot would be a heart, would be your heart. Okay, and inside of your heart is where the builder lives. Okay, and in the core of Pandora's box is the consciousness. Okay. And all of these things must come into alignment in order for you to be whole and complete as the builder, meaning that your consciousness must be in alignment with your heart's desires in order for the builder to actually be building the reality that is conducive to the true you, that smallest doll, that they can actually emerge from the core, from the center, from the box, from the knot, and feel safe to live in. And so it can't be a world that was built by that very outer version of you, the version of you that may be, a politician, maybe, whatever it is that you do for a living. Okay. And then that next layer would be, your placement within your family structure. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm whatever I am to my children, whatever I am to my parents, my sisters and brothers. I'm an aunt. I'm a, whatever. That next layer would be, it's always something that you're doing to save the world. It would be your financial status, your social status. Am I living in poverty? Am I middle class? Am I, upper class? What is my social status then? So all of these things are the outer layers of the self that really are not real. And there's a scripture in the Bible that says that God is no respecter of persons. So what this means is that all of these things that we have added onto the self are things that really don't matter to God, as far as, unless it is work that you're actually doing for God. Okay. So if you're doing something that really is just upholding the matrix, and the structure, the establishment, then this is really not what matters as much as it would be for you to come in and actually add a new creation or something, new to what has already been established. Okay. Or allow it to be seen in a new way or from a different perspective. So, the builder is the one that you're trying to actually identify with. So not so much as with, of course you can identify with those things, but these are just aspects of the self. So the mother, the CEO, the sister, the wife, all of these things are just, experiences that the builder is having. They are dreams that the dreamer is having. They are stories that the writer is writing. And so the goal here in opening the Russian dolls or Pandora's box or unraveling the unraveler's knot is to get to the core, the truth of who you are, and to identify with that, because this is the one who has the power to actually change the reality, to create your own reality. And so there are some who would consider this to be occult knowledge because, of course, those who consider themselves to be master builders, seem to think that, I don't know, they seem to be selfish with the knowledge. Let's just say that. And a lot of the people who are using this knowledge, it's really not their knowledge to be using. There are those of us who have this knowledge written in our DNA, and it is only needed that this code within your DNA is unlocked. Now, there are a lot of you who will simply be able to go outside and allow the sun to penetrate through the pineal gland and have it decalcified. But, a lot of you just don't do it. Go outside and let the sun hit you between the eyes. Okay. And you will begin to get downloads as well. Now, again, the builder is the one at the very core of all of the experiences. It is the one who is having the experiences. Okay. And all of the other dolls, the other boxes, all the other levels are experiences that are being had. Okay. And so we have to, understand that there are levels to your consciousness. And so understanding that there are levels to your consciousness, determining, and we do fluctuate between those levels depending upon which role that we need to play in this, in which moment. Okay. And so I submit to you that the idea that there are levels that you have yet to even tap into. And it's not always about, I'm going to say it's not necessarily about moving higher physically, as far as a location goes, but it's about understanding again that the universe is a mirror, no matter what perspective that you're looking at it from. So if you're looking up in the sky and looking for God in the sky, understand that the sky is a mirror. And so the Most High then becomes, from a different perspective, the most deep. Okay. And so when it comes to Pandora's box, but the babushka dolls, even to the very center of the unraveler's knot, we are looking for the most deep. And I think it's important that we have that change in perspective, because when we imagine God to be in the sky, that appears to be unreachable and an unobtainable goal. But when we understand that the sky is a mirror, okay, that I'm actually looking down, looking within into myself, and I'm thinking of God as the most deep, I'm understanding, okay, that God is something that is within me, okay, and within the core, the center of me, the most deep, because the sky, the universe, is a mirror. Okay. And so that universe that I think I see when I'm looking up into this mirror, that is the sky, I'm actually looking within myself, and then the words make sense that I've been hearing all of my life. And I hope it makes sense to a lot of you that the universe is inside of you. The entire universe is inside of you. And so you're literally looking into a mirror as you look out at the world around you. We can use the human torus field, which has been, measured and can be studied and measured scientifically, also spiritually by the seers who see this as your auric field. It's just an aura of swirling colors comprised of your changing thoughts and emotions. So they can measure this scientifically, and you can see this and feel this if you are spiritually sensitive. This is the electromagnetic field being generated from the builder that lives in the core of you, the builder that is the truth of you. Okay, so the whole point of deconstructing the dolls, of deconstructing the self, of opening and getting to that very last center of Pandora's boxes, of unraveling the unraveler's knot, is to locate the builder within the self, the master builder of realities. Because all of the other layers, all of the other dolls in the babushka, the matryoshkas, all of the other layers are just worlds and realities that the builder has built. And a lot of you are identifying with these realities that you have built as being who you are, meaning that you have gotten lost within a reality that you have built, and you forgot that you are the builder. So your perspective has shifted from being the dreamer to actually being the dream, from being the writer to being the story. So a lot of you are dreaming a dream within a dream within a dream. This is the whole principle of the boxes, of the dolls, of the knot that must be unraveled. So welcome Romans 8:28, Aqua Boogie 55. I'm loving these numbers in my big old room. Prophet Kenneth and whoever else may be in the bushes. I'm just really delivering downloads that I'm getting in real time because I was not given the privilege of preparing, but given the challenge of just stepping up to the mic and allowing spirit to speak through me in real time. Why is this way for me? Because, it's a test for me to prove that I fully trust my own spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's a cooperation with spirit that is necessary once you get to a certain level, to, have enough trust in this relationship, in this co-creatorship, to allow, when it is necessary, spirit to take the wheel. Okay. And to not have that need to know what is going to be said or done before I say or do it. And so the reason I'm sharing this with you is because a lot of you will reach that point as well, where whatever it is that you do well, whatever your gift is, whatever message that you have been sent to deliver in whatever way, you will be challenged to trust in your internal guide with all of your heart, okay? And to lean not on your intellect alone, your own understanding, okay? Because it's time to shift the perspective from understanding to understanding. And this is what happens when you understand, when you understand, okay, that the universe is a mirror and you are God in the mirror. So when you are looking at the sky, you are looking deeper and deeper within the self. And so the reason why I'm speaking of God as the most deep, because my perspective has shifted from, imagining God to be above me and in the sky, to knowing that God is within me, okay, in the deepest regions of my own heart. And therefore, you know what I'm saying, that which we call God is no longer the most high, but is now the most deep. Okay. And this has been my own experience. So, I'm not, ever trying to orchestrate another person's experience. But what I am advising you to do is to allow your own internal guide, your own indwelling spirit, to be the writer of your story, to be the orchestrator of your own experience, to be the navigator of your experience, because this is what we are here for. Self-realization is to make the self real. Okay, but first we have to realize who the self is. Okay, so if we're identifying with, what I do for a living as who I am, there's, some more shadow work that needs to be done. If we're identifying with I'm the mother of however many, there's more shadow work that needs to be done. There's more work on the self that needs to be done. If I'm identifying with I'm such and such's wife, there's more work that needs to be done. When you get to the very core, that last babushka, that last matryoshka doll, you are going to feel a pure energy, and you're not going to be identifying with worldly things at all. You simply will feel that I am love. I am peace. In this moment, I am grateful. You know what I'm saying? I am that I am. So if you're identifying yourself at this moment with I am a mother, then that's what you are. And yet, the truth of you is still waiting to be illuminated. Because identifying with I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm all of these things. Yes, you are all of those things and more. And so there's more to discover, to uncover. Just like as you're opening each doll in a set of matryoshkas, just as you are opening each Pandora's box, you're opening a different level of reality within the self, a different level of experience within the self. But the question is, who is the self? Continue to discover, because each doll that you open up, you're going to realize, wow, I didn't know there was another one, and another one, and another one. That is the path to self-realization, is the uncovering of each layer of the self, the peeling of an onion, the unraveling of a knot. To discover what is at the very core of this ball of energy. What is generating this energy? Who is having this dream that I find myself lost in? Who is writing this story in which I am a character? Who am I? What am I? These are the questions that one should be asking the self, because the questions lead you to the answers, and this is what lights your path. So when questions arise in your head, my people on this path, understand that those questions are not coming from nowhere. Ask yourself, what part of me is asking this question? And when the answers come, because they will come, if you are listening, ask yourself, what part of me provided this answer? This is the relationship that you are being advised to cultivate more than any other. The relationship with self that you are experiencing me operate in this moment. A complete and total trust in my own indwelling spirit as my guide, as my GPS system, as my lie and truth detector. As my shield, my buckler, my comforter, my healer, my source and supply. And I am challenging you to cultivate the same relationship with your own indwelling spirit. This is the challenge on the path. I mean, regardless of what frustrations we feel at watching other people who don't appear to be doing what we think they should be doing, these people are reflections. You are the one who is having the experience. So your frustration is with the self. If only the people who go live on their platforms and spend hours talking about how other people can't get it right, and other people's lives are just in shambles, and other people's lives are, just not what, it should be, and how they just can't see it for other people. If only they were forced to acknowledge that these other people are reflections. I think they would shut up at that point. They would be forced to take authority over the only person that they have ever had authority over, which is the self. They would be forced to make the changes in the only place where they have the ability to make changes, which is within the self. They would be forced to realize that your world is not going to change. And nothing in your world, as far as all of these other people who are just not in alignment, none of that is going to change until you change. Because you are the man or the woman in the mirror. I just said something. All of these narcissistic people who refuse to acknowledge the mirror. The mirror is now acknowledging you. Let me reintroduce myself. They call me Oshun Ajay. Okay? The mirror is now acknowledging you. So when I speak of shadow work that must be done, I mean that the parts of yourself that you tuck away into the limbic regions of your mind, into the dark side of your brain, that you refuse to acknowledge, that this is not me, this is other people. They're just not right. They're everything that I deny about myself. And yet I am the one who's unhappy because of them. How is it that other people, places, and things have so much control over your internal state of being? This is indicative of a need, of a shift in perception, a perception correction. Behold, God is doing a new thing. Will you not see it? Will you not allow your perception to be corrected? Or will you continue to insist that I already know everything? And what I'm looking at is not an illusion. It's not a mirror. Those really are other people. And I am unhappy because these other people are not in alignment with my delusion. So a lot of people are getting a rude awakening at this time because they are having no choice but to accept the fact that you are the common denominator in all of these dramas and all of this chaos. That is the pattern that has become your life. For some of them, same game, different players. Same game, different players. It's called hypnotic rhythm. The merry-go-round does not stop. You are required to just jump off. It's never going to stop. You got to jump off like I did. So how many of you are prepared to take that leap of faith? In order to be prepared, you have to have built your faith. See, it costs nothing to say, I have faith. It takes actually having faith to take that leap. I just said something. So at this point, we don't need you to say anything. Just do it. For those of you who came to transcend the lattice work of the matrix, prepare yourselves to literally run out of time. For such is the plan. The plan was to run out of time. This is how we escape the matrix. So this is that real work that I'm talking about doing on the self. There is nowhere else outside of the self where you need to apply pressure or apply any sort of take any action. All of the action now that needs to be done, that needs to be taken, is on the self. And if you feel that you have done all of the work that needs to be done on the self, then this is your time to rest and allow, with absolute, complete, and total trust, your own spirit to take the wheel. It's time for you now to go along for the ride. But it's not going to happen for those who don't have complete and total trust. It's not about who can say they have it at this point. It's about who can prove and show us that you have it. It's not about, when I say us, again, remember, there is but one spirit having many experiences. And so all of these other people are just other experiences that you are having. So instead of focusing so much on the experiences, in order to shift your perception, focus on the experiencer. Because the experiencer is the one that has said that I am that I am. So over there, I am grateful and I am thankful and I'm happy and I'm joyful and I am love, right? But over here, I may be anxious and fearful and jealous and, unsure of myself. Two different spectrums of light, So one has, very little light by which to see, and the other is in the light, has become the light. And so there's a lot of different experiences in between that most high and the most low. But they're all experiences that are being had by the one spirit. So if you identify with yourself as, the doctor or the mother or whatever, you are identifying yourself as the experience. Who am I being when I am that doctor? What is the doctor feeling? Is the doctor compassion? Do I feel compassion or do I feel, control? Because, you can be a doctor and you can be a doctor that, really wants to help people. And so I'm moving in this energy of love, compassion, which is just a form of love. Or I can be a doctor who does not know love and I just do this for a living. So, I need to control the situation in order to get the outcome that I want. And I mean, you may, be able to get the outcome. Both will come up with the outcome, but what will the doctor be being in that moment? Because, we can both, let me use something that's simpler than the doctor. Let's say a spoiled child or a child that has been overindulged. You bought a cupcake. You got two children, and one has been overindulged, and the other has not been. So the one who has not been overindulged is going to be extremely grateful for the cupcake that you give them, whereas the one who has been overindulged is probably not even going to appreciate it. And so, even though you both received the same thing, the experience that you would be having would be something different. The one who has been overindulged would not be experiencing much stimulation and may even be dissatisfied because, they've been overstimulated, overindulged, whereas the one who hasn't experienced much is going to appreciate this much more because they haven't had it, or they know the opposite of it. Because not saying that you necessarily have to not have known something in order to appreciate it more, but you do have to have known the opposite. So a principle of saying that in order to know the greatest heights of joy, you have to have known the depths of sorrow. This is true, because you have to have something to compare it to. So, this is, again, give a rich child, $500. They're not going to be excited. They're not going to feel the appreciation of it like a child who has never really had anything. They're going to be very appreciative. They're going to be very they're going to have a different experience of receiving $500. $500 to them would feel like 5 million, whereas $500 to a child that has been overindulged is going to feel like $5. And so it's about knowing the opposite, the contrasting experiences is what allows you to fully appreciate the experience that you're in. So having been poor before, having money, I'm so much more appreciative than I would have been had I been born into a situation where there was no struggle, where I didn't know what it was like to not have money. So my experience of not being wealthy, or my experience of being even having poverty, okay, experiences of being in poverty will cause you to appreciate just being middle class. You know what I'm saying? Whereas if you were born into a middle class family, then that wouldn't be, that's the norm for you. And so you would need a higher and higher stimulation. So basically what I'm saying is that I'll use one more analogy, having been in relationships where you have been absolutely starved of love and attention, and then, getting to where you're getting love and attention, you're going to appreciate it so much more than someone who has always had it. You know what I'm saying? So basically having that contrasting experience opened up the possibility of having a deeper level of appreciation of whatever it is that you're experiencing. And so, I hope that makes sense, to understand that in order to feel that extreme joy, you have to know what the opposite of that is. Okay. So having had sorrow, having been starved of simple things like love and attention, not saying that you, because you not, let me not be misunderstood when it comes to the self-love factor. Because a narcissist will see this in a person, and if that person's self-love is not in place, then you can be very easily taken advantage of when they can see that you're not used to having love and attention and you're starved of it, and then they give you this fake love and attention, and then you get addicted to it, and then now they're using this to abuse and manipulate you. This is because your self-love was not in place. If self-love was in place, then you would recognize fake love. When they give it to you, it's more than just going through the motions. You know what I'm saying? So first of all, learn what it is, and then, because you can't, if you don't know what it is within yourself and you haven't cultivated within yourself, then you really don't have the capacity to really be trying to receive it or give it to anyone else. And so again, the work that must be done is always on the self. When we look out at our world and there's things about it that we don't like, that we would like to change, or things about the people in our world that we don't like, we would like to change, we need to understand at all times that the world is just mirroring back to us our own internal state of being. And so the work must be done on and with the man in the mirror. Okay. And at the end of the day, the universe is God in the mirror. Okay. And so everything that you're seeing in your world is just mirroring back to you your internal state of being. Now, prove me wrong and go get happy inside and tell me that your world is not reflecting that back to you. Now, people can think back on times when they can say, well, I was happy and then something went wrong. That's because there was subconscious thoughts in the mind that still allow those things to be magnetized to you. Now, what do I mean by that? So let me say, for most people, and I'm going to use love as an example. Say you just now realizing that, I can't believe I'm falling in love, or I'm in love with this person, when you wasn't really trying to quote unquote catch feelings. Okay. So it's like, okay, so now I have to accept that I'm having, because some people run from having deeper emotions for a person, making that connection. But, so say a person realizes, I'm feeling deeper feelings for a person, and then along with those deeper feelings, which love should be a feeling of bliss and nirvana, because we have fear, it comes right along with it. And so we think that's normal. We think that, oh my God, I love this person. All of a sudden now I'm scared. I'm scared to lose them. I'm scared for anything. You know what I'm saying? I got to hold on to this. And so this is where a lot of people's insecurities are, come out, and they're rooted in. And so before you get into a relationship where it can be healthy, you have to have worked out all of these things within yourself. Otherwise, that fear is you're going to make it real, because fear is a very strong energy in motion, a very strong emotion, and that energy is a magnet. So it's like, I'm thinking about the person that I love, and I have very strong love for this person, but I also have very strong fear that I'm going to lose them. And that fear is, you know what I'm saying, happens to be stronger because we're afraid to feel the love. So the fear is right there, right along with it. And the more that you fear letting that person go, the more it's in your behaviors. Now you're timing the time that they go to the store. Now I'm trying to control who you have as friends. Now I'm trying to control your movements. Now I got you as a bird in a cage because I'm scared to lose you. Okay, so this is what narcissistic people do. And not everybody who acts like this is narcissistic. Some people are just extremely insecure. And so they have not worked out with that shadow work and that inner child work, these abandonment issues and all of these issues, to where you're still codependent and you cannot love unconditionally, where you're able to let a person go and trust that the true connection is between the heart and mind. And if I have to let you go physically, that the connection is still going to be significant, because most people haven't gotten to that level of experience of love yet. They haven't gotten beyond the experience of love where the fear is right along with it. And so since I got to deal with this fear that came along with my love, the way I'm going to deal with it is I'm going to cage you up. I'm going to make you promise that you're never going to love nobody else but me. And if you do, then I'm going to make you feel guilty about it. I'm going to put you through hell. I'm going to, let me bind you up. Let's go into wedlock. Okay, let me lock you down. Let me put a ring on your finger. Let me, you know what I'm saying? Let me bind you to me. This is a form of magic that's based upon insecurity and wanting to possess what you love. True love is freedom. If you really love something, you're going to let it be free to have all of its heart's desires, whether they make you happy or not. But people don't want to hear that, because no one has really gotten to that level within themselves yet to be able to allow another person to be that free. You know what I'm saying? We can't imagine a love without that insecurity and without that codependent attachment. Meaning that this world really doesn't even know what love actually is. We think that it is lust. We think that it is strong attraction. We think that it is, loyalty. Now, all of these things are aspects of it. But the biggest thing about it is that it's freedom. It's unconditional. That means that my love for you does not require you to be no certain way. It doesn't require you to become any certain thing to me. It doesn't require me to put a label on what I am to you. It doesn't require you to say I own you now, or that we own each other, or that I possess you, that you are mine. All of those things are levels of codependency. And I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear that because they're still there. But deep down, they know that it's the truth. There's a level of love where you can actually love people and not be trying to possess them. You know what I'm saying? You just love them for who they are in their freedom. They're going to be the most beautiful to you when they're the most free, when they can just be themselves. You know what I'm saying? When they don't feel that they have to conform to your expectations, to your fears, when they don't have to coddle your insecurities. But most people haven't gotten there yet, so they don't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? But that's what real love really is. You know how they say, if you love something, let it go, and if it's yours, it'll come back to you. That's true, because the connection is truly energetic. It's energy, frequency, and vibration. True love is a connection between the heart and the mind of two different people. It ain't even about all of those other things. And so if I'm connected in your heart and mind, and it is true appreciation without expectation, meaning that I appreciate who you are. I think you're a beautiful person. I just love everything. I love being in your energy. But because of this, that don't mean I expect you to say that you're mine for the rest of my life, that nobody else can love you in this way. You know what I'm saying? That's based on possession, and that's a level that we need to get beyond. You know what I'm saying? I love you so much that I need you to promise me that you ain't never going to let nobody else love you in this way, that you're never going to feel anything like this with nobody else in life. We're 20, and I need you to promise me that even when we 50, you're never going to, that's no. I mean, now, I'm not saying that can't be the case, but you can't, ask somebody to promise you that. It has to be a choice that's made newly, a new choice that's made to love you each morning when I wake up. See, people are afraid to go to that level of love. That sounds unheard of. You know what I'm saying? That is preposterous. In this realm, love is ownership. It's possession. You are mine. Can't nobody else have you. Get in that cage. Okay? You trying to go to the store, you should be back in 10 minutes. If you're not back in 10 minutes, on the 11th minute, I will be calling you. And I'm going to ask you to go on FaceTime and cam up so you can prove to me you ain't went nowhere else that might have been somewhere you wanted to be. Okay? Yeah, that's what most people are doing. Oh, you going to the store? Take me with you. Cam up so I can see where you're going, so I can make sure that you don't have your freedom to go do something that, you might want to do. I got to make sure. You prove that you love me by depriving yourselves of some of your other heart's desires. Oh, you desire me? Okay, well, if you desire me, I need you to let go of all your other desires. That's the only way you can have me. See, that's that level of love that now we are being challenged to transcend. It doesn't work. You can't tell somebody they can't, oh, you love me, you got to promise you ain't gonna love nobody else then. That's how you prove it. That's narcissism. Okay? We're really supposed to be free to love as many people as we want to love. Are you the only beautiful soul that they can connect and merge with? You're really not. But, I need you to prove to me that I'm special to you. So therefore, let me put you in a cage. Let me put this chain around your ankle. You know what I'm saying? So that wherever you go, you got to take me with you. So everybody know, you're not available for them to love you or for you to love them. You done found the person that you're going to love. So you know what I'm saying? No, I'm not laughing because, again, to each his own. And if that works, that works. But for me, it's like, okay, I've already been there and done that. And that's just not something that I desire. And, the level that I'm going to now, the levels of love that I'm experiencing now, there is so much more pure. It's less, it's not heavy. There's no fear involved, no possession, no ownership. And yet, it's more, it feels, what can I say? More intact, more, it's not what you would think that you would feel like when you were in your codependent state. It's like, no, I couldn't love somebody and not possess them. That's what a codependent person thinks, until you have grown to this point where loving someone without possessing them is the only thing that actually feels like love. You know what I'm saying? Because it's saying, I'm allowing you to be who you are. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not asking you to conform to my expectations in order for me to be happy or in order for me to give you my love, because that would be conditional. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I love you, or even in your freedom. If you want to go fly to another country, I still think that's beautiful about you, because, that's a part of you that I admire as well. Your freedom, your desire to want to go and do things. And, it may mean that I can't possess you. It may mean that I can't keep chains on you or keep an eye on you 24/7. You know what I'm saying? And so it requires me to feel full and whole within myself and to feel that connection, regardless of what the illusion looks like, because the true connection is for one, it cannot be broken. And it is a connection between the heart and the mind that, transcends space, time, and even death. So, when you get to this next level of love, it's like you're required to actually acknowledge that unseen, the unseen part of love that is the most important, the energetic, the part that you feel, the part that is tangible. Because when I was having codependent love, I never felt it in my being like I do when I feel unconditional love. It's very tangible. It has colors. You can feel it. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's much more real than what we try to create when we try to lock ourselves to somebody or bind somebody to us or possess and say, this is mine. I need you to act a certain way and be a certain way. And you know what I'm saying? Reject everybody else, for me. I mean, I'm not saying that these are not behaviors that happen when two people have connected, but let it be natural. Like, I don't need you to do this to please me. But if it's something that you naturally do because this is where you're focused at, then let that just happen. But let me not require it. You know what I'm saying? Let me not be looking or expect it, because this is where the pain comes from. Because I feel like you love me, I need you to act like you don't see nobody else. I need you to not even look at nobody else. I need you to not entertain anybody else. Don't laugh with them. Don't make them smile. Don't, you know what I'm saying? That is all insecurity. And we need to really acknowledge that. You put a lot of burden on another person when you expect them to temper their behavior that may come very natural to them. Some people are just people persons. You know what I'm saying? They like interacting with other people. And so, a person who's a people person will get in a relationship with an insecure person. And then now that insecure person don't want me talking to other people because, it's triggering something within them that they should have healed before they got into the relationship. But now they blame you for the trigger instead of blaming themselves that there is something still within me that can be triggered. That means a need for healing, and healing is an inside job. But instead of that, I'm going to say, I blamed you because you hurt me. You triggered something within me by talking to that woman that was in the store. You triggered my insecurity by smiling or talking to those ladies that came into the store, by being a nice person, by being the nice person that you have always been, that you would have been if had I not been with you. And therefore, now that you're with me, I need you to change. I need you not to be as friendly as you used to be. Because it's triggering something within me that I don't want to acknowledge that I need to fix. I expect you to make me feel secure. I expect you to make me happy. When all of these things are an inside job, and these are the things that weigh down a relationship, the other person is not responsible for making you happy. They're really not. They're not responsible for making you feel secure. You know what I'm saying? So now, this friendly man or this friendly woman, now I can't even be myself and smile at people and interact because the person I'm with says, it's triggering something within them that feels like I'm going to leave them, but they don't want to identify this as an abandonment issue. They don't want to identify this with insecurity within myself that only I can fix. Therefore, I'm going to hold you accountable for fixing it. And every time that I'm unhappy, it's your fault. You need to temper your behavior to make me happy. And then because you may love me so much, you're going to try to do it. And then you're going to be in denial that there's a level of resentment that is building up because I have been made to adjust myself in all these different ways. You know what I'm saying? It's okay that, we love people and we are willing to adjust ourselves. But when they require it, it's a whole nother vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, of course, when we love people, we see the changes and we're willing to make changes, but not because they require it, though. Because I see that, that if I change this about myself, it's going to make me a better person. And I want to be a better person. You know what I'm saying? But not because this person requires it, because if I don't, they're going to feel insecure about themselves. That is a weight that we take upon ourselves that is not our burden to carry. And so it's time to really place, these perspectives and perceptions of relationships and of ourselves and the way that we deal with things. It's time to really put these things under a microscope. I mean, we live in the age of, checking each other's phones and, you know what I'm saying? All of these things that's based on insecurity. Like if you got to do all of that, I mean, that's just letting you know right there that the trust is not there. But we're so used to having trust issues in relationships, we think this is normal, and it's not. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we need to deconstruct and reconstruct. You know what I'm saying? The self. If we're having these types of issues where, if I got in a relationship and I felt like, I need to be checking my man's phone and all of that, I would know that I need to still be working on myself because I don't have time for it. You know what I'm saying? Like that is a deep level of insecurity that a lot of people have in this society. And, we don't acknowledge it. We think it's normal. I'm sure they got songs out and all type of stuff about checking people's phones and all of that. That's just one thing that I don't have time for. Like, I'm just not going to do it because what is the point? What are you trying to do? If I feel like I need to check your phone, that means that I already feel like, you're trying to develop relationships or do something outside of us. And if I feel like that, then why wouldn't I just allow you to do that? What do I think I'm going to prevent? Like, oh my God, I done discovered that you have desires to connect with other people. And now that I done found it, I'm going to demand that you don't do it. No, that's not healthy. You know what I'm saying? I just require that, we just be honest with one another, respect, honesty. And yes, pain is a part of life sometimes. So if I get hurt by the fact that, the only way I could be hurt is if I expected certain things. You know what I'm saying? So all I expect is really honesty. And so if I get hurt by you saying, well, I still I don't want to be exclusively, you know what I'm saying? Say I can only look at you exclusively. If I'm hurt by that, I feel like that's an issue within myself, and I wasn't ready to be in a relationship anyway. And so, these things, and it's not necessarily about romantic relationships. I mean, of course, that's a very, very strong part, but this is relationships with anybody. It's like, you have to be secure with yourself in anything. There's people that get jealous over their friends having another friend, and they literally will stop being your friend because you got another friend, because they want to be your only friend. These are issues that people need to work out, okay, within themselves before they start trying to connect with other people, because it causes you to come into relationships with expectations of other people that are just unfair and unrealistic, and ultimately results in you getting hurt. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, y'all. So I only had meant to be here for like an hour and a half. So I'm going to do that because it's 3 a.m. right now. I don't want to be up too late because I do plan to go live tomorrow, like earlier in the day. So I did want to come by and just give those little downloads that was going through my head. There are other things that I want to bring up related to the builder, which I will bring up on the live that I'm going to do later. I don't know if I'm going to do it on Bigo Live. I am going to go live on Bigo later today around 6:30, probably between 5:30 and 6 p.m. later today. So that's why I don't want to stay on here too late tonight. So if you are following me, make sure that you guys join me tomorrow. And I do see the 3 people in my live on Bigo on YouTube as well. So shout out to you guys as well. And I do hope you guys listen to the playback. So basically, I was talking about deconstructing Pandora's box, the Matryoshka, Babushka dolls, or Unraveler's knot, to get to the truth of who you are, which is at the core of who you are. And the aspect of the self that we're looking for is the builder. And so when I come back, we will go a little bit deeper, especially down the rabbit hole on Bigo Live. About the builder. I don't want to say too much. YouTube, you already know what it is and how people like to take words out of my mouth and act like it was their teachings. Yes, Ike Love, you caught me just before I get off. It's good to see you, though. I do hope you catch the playback. I will be back, though, later this evening. And for my YouTube people, I do hope you consider following me over to Bigo Live, because I do go live on there a lot more. I am going to start going live on here. I decided that I really don't like doing these together. So today I am doing them together because I do like to open panels on my Bigo, and I do like to do my single lives on Bigo. But when I try that and I do them both over here, it distracts me from my downloads that I'm trying to give on YouTube. So I'm kind of going to keep them separate. I'm going to do my Bigos in the daytime earlier, and then I will do my midnight mindfulness on YouTube, and you guys can cross watch those from app to app. So that's how I'm going to be doing this, because trying to do them simultaneously just does not work. They're 2 different vibrations, 2 different worlds. And, I got my foot a little bit in each one of them. And so I am going to separate these things, but I will be, from time to time playing my YouTube recordings on Bigo Live and vice versa. Okay. So again, I don't want to stay too long, you guys. It is 3:03 a.m. So I'm sending you love, Ike Love, Sarah Niswit, and the other 2 people that are in my YouTube room. And also shout out to the people in my Bigo Live room, Congo Man, Villain, I Am Goddess, Protected, and everyone else that may be in the bushes. On Bigo Live. Okay. So I will be back later with my House of Healing family, my people. And until we meet again, peace, love, light, and healing. So follow me on Bigo Live YouTube, and maybe y'all can catch me live over there when I'm not live over here. Peace.